Imagine stepping into a world that was, well, completely secret for over 2,000 years. A massive underground city, a whole army, just waiting.
And it was all built to serve a single ruler in the afterlife.
It sounds like a myth, but it was a real army guarding a real emperor. And we only found it completely by accident.
Yeah, that was in 1974. You had some farmers outside the city of Xi'an in China. They were just digging a well, looking for water.
And instead, they pull up, what? Clay pieces.
Exactly, just broken ceramic pieces. But archaeologists, they realized almost instantly that this was one of the most important finds of the entire century. This was the resting place of Qin Shi Huang.
And just as a quick reminder for everyone, Qin Shi Huang wasn't just an emperor. He was the first emperor of a unified China.
Right, so this complex the farmers found, it wasn't just a tomb, it was a whole underground defense force.
Designed to guarantee his power literally forever.
To really get the scale of this, you have to understand the man who ordered it built. Qin Shi Huang became the ruler of the Qin state when he was only 13 years old.
A teenager.
Right.
With that much power.
A teenager with immense power. And over the next decade or so, he just systematically conquered all the other warring states. He brought them all together into one single massive empire.
His legacy of unification is so foundational to modern China. I mean, he didn't just win wars, he built the entire framework for a nation.
He did. He started construction on what we now call the Great Wall.
Right?
And maybe even more important for day-to-day life, he standardized everything.
What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it. Before him, every single region had its own money, its own way of writing, even different measurements for us, like the wheels on carts.
So trade would have been a nightmare.
A complete nightmare. He established one system of money, one unified script for writing. It made trade, communication, governance, everything just vastly easier across this huge new territory.
So he achieved everything a ruler could possibly dream of in this life.
Everything. But that success didn't stop him from being absolutely terrified of death.
There's the catch.
It's the key to this whole complex. His obsession with immortality. He desperately wanted to live forever. He even sent people out on expeditions to find, elixirs of life.
When that didn't work out.
He decided the next best thing was to guarantee his power and his protection in the spirit world. So he ordered the construction of this gigantic tomb complex.
So an underground capital city just for him.
Exactly. For his eternal reign.
Let's talk about the labor involved. This couldn't have been built quickly.
Not at all. The estimates suggest that over 700,000 laborers were involved.
700,000 people.
For decades. I mean, just imagine trying to manage a population that large. Feeding them, housing them, getting all the materials. It required an astonishingly sophisticated system for that time.
It just shows the sheer absolute power he had.
Complete control.
So given that power, why clay soldiers? In earlier Chinese history, rulers would sometimes sacrifice real people, right? To accompany them into the afterlife.
They did. And that's what makes this a really profound shift. The Terracotta army was a symbolic guard. Instead of that costly, brutal practice of human sacrifice, he chose these life-size clay statues.
So it's like a technological solution to a spiritual problem.
Perfectly put. It was a way to project his earthly military might into the next world without, killing off his actual living army.
And it wasn't just a static display, was it? The way they were arranged was critical.
Absolutely. Every single figure was positioned according to a real, very complex battle formation. You have ranks, you have forward skirmishers, main battle lines, flank protection.
It's a snapshot of an army ready for war.
Precisely. It was all designed to show his immense wealth, his strategic genius, and to make it clear that his empire would last for all time.
Okay, let's get into the engineering here. They're made of clay, but they are incredibly durable. How do they actually make thousands of these things?
The material itself is a local reddish clay. We call it terracotta, which just means baked earth. And the production process was surprisingly modern, almost like an assembly line.
So they weren't carving each one from a single block.
No, they used standardized molds for the different parts, arms, legs, torsos, heads. Once the pieces were molded, workers would join them together.
And then they had to bake them. Firing thousands of life-size statues must have been a massive challenge.
Oh, it's a mark of the logistical genius of the Qin dynasty. You need these massive kilns, and you need to keep them at a high, consistent temperature.
Which means you need a ton of fuel.
An incredible, reliable supply of wood. It suggests a highly organized system for forestry and for transporting materials. It wasn't just art, it was an industrial effort.
But the truly breathtaking detail, the one that everyone talks about, is the uniqueness of the faces.
This is the aha fact, the one that still stops archaeologists in their tracks.
Go on.
We have recovered thousands of these figures,
Yeah.
and no two facial expressions are exactly the same.
No two out of thousands.
Not a single one. You see different ages, you see wisdom, bravery, even exhaustion etched onto these clay faces.
So they might have been based on real soldiers.
That's the strong suggestion, yes. While the bodies were made from molds, the heads may have been individually customized or even modeled after actual soldiers in his army.
And that variety went beyond just the expressions, right? It defined their role.
Absolutely. They're not all the same height. They range from about 5'8" to over 6 feet tall. And if you look closely, little details like their hairstyle, the caps they wear, all of that communicated critical information.
Like their rank.
Their rank, or maybe even the regional unit they belong to. It's like a perfectly detailed military census, all recorded in clay.
So you've got your basic infantry, your officers. How can someone just looking at them tell the difference?
The uniform is the main giveaway, the complexity of it. A common infantry soldier wears a simple tunic, no helmet. But as you move up the ranks, the armor gets more layered, more detailed.
And the highest ranking officers.
They're easy to spot, highly decorative clothes, and very elaborate, distinct headgear. It's all about visually communicating their authority.
But these soldiers weren't just standing there empty-handed. They were armed.
That's right. They were originally equipped with real, functional weapons, mostly made of bronze.
To swords, spears.
Swords, spears, crossbows, battle axes. Over time, of course, the wooden parts of the spears and crossbows rotted away, but the bronze parts remained.
And this is where we get to that amazing technological detail. When the archaeologists found these bronze weapons, many were still sharp and shiny. Why didn't they corrode after 2,000 years underground?
This is truly mind-blowing. The Qin metallurgists had treated the bronze weapons with a special chemical process. They coated them with a layer of chrome.
Chrome. Like chrome plating on a car. That's a 20th century technology.
It's a technology we in the West usually associate with the early 1900s, yes. But the Qin dynasty was using a sophisticated anti-rust, anti-tarnish coating thousands of years earlier.
That's incredible.
It just shows a level of advanced metalworking that was way ahead of its time.
And it wasn't just foot soldiers either. An army needs mobile units.
Of course. And mixed in with the infantry, you find life-size terracotta horses.
And cavalrymen?
Yep, you can spot them because they're wearing shorter, more practical tunics for easier riding. And we find evidence of war chariots everywhere.
But the chariots themselves would have been made of wood, which would have decayed, so what's left?
The wood is gone, yes. But they were usually pulled by 4 horses and carried a driver and 2 soldiers. And while the wooden frames decayed, we found the heavy bronze fittings, the structural joints, even the little bronze harness bells, all perfectly intact.
So you get a perfect footprint of where the chariot once stood.
A perfect footprint. Yeah. It shows us exactly how they were built.
Okay, let's pull back. How big is this whole complex?
It's enormous. The main pits are located about a mile east of the emperor's actual burial mound, which itself has never been opened.
And the pits themselves?
They're far, far larger than several football fields laid end to end. We know of 4 main pits, though the 4th one was found empty.
Empty? Why?
It suggests the project was so immense it was probably still unfinished when the emperor died.
And Pit 1 is the famous one, right? The one you see in all the pictures.
That's the main fighting force. Pit 1 is huge, about 755 feet long, 200 feet wide. It contains an estimated 6,000 soldiers.
6,000?
All in battle formation. Then you have Pit 2, which is more diverse with cavalry and other units, and Pit 3 is the smallest. We think that was the high-level command center.
And the soldiers weren't just buried in dirt. They were in a purpose-built structure.
A massive underground structure. They stood in long, parallel corridors that were separated by thick walls made of rammed earth.
What's rammed earth?
It's a technique where you compact moist soil and gravel into forms. It creates these incredibly dense, strong walls. These corridors were then covered with heavy wooden ceilings, and the whole thing was buried. A protected underground barracks.
All facing east.
All facing east, toward the territories he'd conquered, ready for any threat.
Now, here's what I find so frustrating about the discovery. The color. They weren't just plain gray clay when they were made.
Oh, they would have been breathtaking. Today we see that plain gray or brownish color of the fired clay. But originally, they were painted in incredibly bright, vibrant colors. We're talking crimson reds, blues, greens, yellows, even purples.
Wow.
All applied over a layer of protective lacquer. Imagine 6,000 of these figures, each painted by hand.
So why don't we see that color today? Why did it vanish?
And that's the core conservation crisis. After 2,000 years in a dark, cool, humid environment underground, the moment they were exposed to the dry air and sunlight above ground, that ancient lacquer base and the paint on top would just dry out, curl up, and flake off.
Instantly.
In some cases, within minutes of being excavated, the color just disappeared.
That must make the process of recovering the army excruciatingly slow.
It is agonizing. Because those heavy wooden ceilings we talked about, they collapsed centuries ago. Most of the statues were smashed into thousands of tiny pieces.
So it's a giant puzzle.
A massive three-dimensional puzzle. The experts on site have to meticulously clean and piece together every single fragment. It could take months, sometimes years, for just one figure.
And they have to protect the clay from the modern environment too, I assume.
Exactly. They're constantly fighting humidity, bacteria. Researchers are using modern chemistry and tech to strengthen the ancient clay. It's why there's still so much of the complex left to be excavated. They're prioritizing slow, careful preservation.
The global significance is it's undeniable.
It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which ensures international protection. And millions of people visit every year. It's an unparalleled source of knowledge. It doesn't just show us the military. It shows us the clothing, the technology, the beliefs of the powerful Qin dynasty in stunning detail.
So after this whole deep dive, what's the final takeaway?
The Terracotta Army is the ultimate expression of ancient power. It's a statement that China's first unified empire was meant to be eternal, its organization, its technology, all frozen in clay. The level of human effort it took to create something this massive and detailed is, well, it's one of the most astounding feats in human history.
And what's still so fascinating is that despite this gigantic military guard, the actual central tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang remains unopened, completely undisturbed, shrouded in 2 millennia of mystery. See you next time.